So excited to announce that I'll be hosting my annual MBA degree program open house on this date here. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about the program and wondered what it would be like to join me and be one of my students, then I invite you to join us live for this event. Now, during the open house, I'll be giving one sample lesson from the program, and I'll be answering questions live, so you'll experience exactly what it's like to be a student in the program. And everybody attending will receive a free course. Just for showing up, you're going to get some of my best stuff. In addition, I'll be giving away one scholarship for my Gold MBA program and one scholarship for my Platinum MBA program, as well as a one-on-one call with me where I will humbly help you with anything related to getting a job, starting a business, getting promoted, making your LinkedIn profile from scratch, and much, much more. So please don't miss out on my Haroun Education MBA open house on this date here. And trust me, you don't want to miss this awesome event, and I can't wait to see you there. Thank you. Welcome to our 180th weekly webcast. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is this is a 2-hour AMA like you see on Reddit, meaning ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal questions, anything you want to ask so I can humbly help take your career or company to the next level. Pardon me. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different today. The first 10 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about a couple of topics I think that are really relevant for my students. And I want to help my students as much as possible. So please provide me with feedback, as it's going to be a little bit different today. And thank you as always. All right, so let me kick it off by saying that yesterday I sent an email to all my students. And the email was titled, "Can I please have your help?" And so I'm going to read the first part of it here, and I'll get to the bottom line in a second. Hope all is well. Can I please have your help? Will you please reply to this email and let me know what is the one thing you most want to learn from me right now? Okay, so just check your inbox and reply if you haven't done so. Or click on subscribe, up to you. Thank you. And then I wrote, I'm creating content and I want to make sure that I'm helping you with your biggest obstacles to landing your dream job, starting a business, or taking your career to the next level. And you can read the rest of that too for a special surprise that I'm going to be announcing very, very soon. But if you reply to that email, just let me know, please. And I'll add more topics to the MBA curriculum. Every year I add at least 30 hours of brand new content, including technology this year and programming, which I'll explain in a second. Okay, let's move on now to a discussion on Netflix. So Netflix this week announced that their subscriber numbers are down year over year. And it wasn't a massive miss, right? Because you did have one-time factors like Netflix was forced to pull out of Russia, that sort of thing, and tough year-over-year comps. However, what was absolutely shocking was the guidance for next quarter. Okay, they guided to a decrease of several million year-over-year in terms of subscribers. So they're actually contracting. Now, we have to give them a break because what happened was Netflix saw incredible growth over the past couple of years because of COVID, right? So the year-over-year comparisons got really, really difficult. And I'm seeing a slowdown too this year in my course sales. Not my MBA sales are doing well, thank goodness. But the year-over-year comparisons are very, very difficult. And so is Netflix a broken company or a broken stock? I think it's actually a broken stock and not a broken company. And the reason I mention this is there's so much low-hanging fruit for Netflix in terms of how they can re-engage and grow subscribers again. Now, when I worked in the hedge fund industry, what I used to do was I worked for this guy named Carson Levitt. He was George Soros' right-hand man, and he hired me at Pequot and Citadel here on the West Coast. And he was very unemotional about stocks. I learned a lot from him. He's a great man. What I would do was after a stock went up a lot or down a lot, I'd go into his office and he'd give me some pointers and he could see the forest from the trees. And here's what he told me actually. So what you want to do is you want to look at the chart. Of course, you want to do a hell of a lot more research than just looking at the chart. But he would say this. He would say, okay, Chris, so Netflix is here right now. Okay, it's at like 224 bucks, whatever it is. Okay. Then he'd look back on a point in the chart years ago and ask me a question. So Netflix is the same as where it was in 2017 or 18. And he would ask me this question. He would say, Chris, are things better or worse for Netflix today than they were back in 2017 or 18? And this is a simplistic way of deciding if the stock is oversold and if it's a broken chart and not a broken company. So I think it's more of a broken chart and not a broken company. Because a lot of things have changed since 2017, 2018. Yes, there's more competition with Disney streaming, Hulu, etc. However, they have a hell of a lot more great content, right? And given COVID, a lot more people signed up. And so I personally think that Netflix is more of a broken stock and not a broken company. So since then, they've released tons of great additional content. Also, what Netflix is seeing is that about half of their roughly 200 million subscribers, about half of them share their logins with family members and other people. So imagine if Netflix cracked down on this. You would see a massive pickup in subscriber growth and revenue. And I'll get to the content behind me in a second. This is my favorite show. The final part of Ozarks is coming out soon. But as I think about what Microsoft did in China in the 80s and 90s, there's a similar pattern here. So Bill Gates was very upset about what was happening in China with Microsoft Windows in the 80s and 90s because tons of people were illegally copying Windows. And he was upset for a while, and then he realized, hey, wait a second, this is a blessing in disguise. Because they would increase market share for free and then charge later on, which is what they're doing now in China. The same thing with Netflix. So now they're going to start cracking down by asking people not to share their logins, right? So there's a hell of a lot of low-hanging fruit. They can also do advertising as well if they want to, similar to what Amazon Prime does. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit here, and I'm a believer in Netflix, especially in Reed Hastings, the CEO founder. And when a founder leaves a company, I never invest, ever. Almost no exception. Okay, there's one exception per decade that works. So Reed Hastings is a brilliant man. He disrupted his own business model before, and he'll do it successfully again. I believe in him. Remember, the jockey's always more important than the horse. And so they have all this great new content here. Now, what I want to do is I want to pivot, and I want to talk about my favorite show here, The Ozarks. The acting is superb. But I want to talk about Jason Bateman. Now, in business, you have to be incredibly unemotional in order to do exceptionally well. And so in this show, Jason Bateman is this incredibly unemotional guy. And unlike Ruth in the middle there, who's a great actress, and I just finished watching Inventing Anna, she's great. Unlike Ruth, Jason Bateman in the show as Marty Bird is not emotional at all. And you have to be unemotional about stocks. You have to be unemotional about business as well. Otherwise, what will happen is this. You'll sell stocks when they go down. And Warren Buffett once said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. So you have to be unemotional. Now, Elon Musk is incredibly unemotional about business, and that's one of the many reasons he's very successful. And many of the billionaires I worked for, I won't mention which ones, in the hedge fund industry are very unemotional as well. Now, with Elon Musk, what he did was in March of 2020, when the market was bottoming and everybody was selling every stock, he backed up the truck and bought a lot more shares in Tesla. Then in the fall of last year, what he did was he actually sold a bunch of shares in Tesla. You know, he's being unemotional. And we have to look at how unemotional managers run their companies and when they buy stocks or sell stocks, because that's usually a great time for you to also sell or buy stocks. So the bottom line is, I think Netflix is more of a broken stock than a broken company. I think it's a better company today than it was back in 2017, 2018, despite the increase in competition. And last but not least, we have to be unemotional in business in order to do extraordinarily well and be a contrarian in order to watch your career take off, just like Marty Bird did here. Okay. All right, give me a second to get some water. I'm probably giving it away, but I'm using a green screen here. It's good. All right. Let's talk about how to boost your productivity. I have a simple way to increase your productivity and the amount of stuff you get done every day by at least 100%. It's true. Did you ever notice that really, really successful and busy people are very well rounded? We all know that guy or girl that has a great career, they're in great shape, they've got a great social life, and they're happy. Because if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. So I'm going to teach you how to accomplish a lot more. And before I go there, one thing I want to say is this. The reason that most people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January is because they don't set a deadline date. You have to set a deadline date or you'll give up on your goals. You also have to vocalize your goals and tell all your friends about them if they're not confidential goals. And you tell them what your deadline date is. And I promise you, you will reach your goals or have a much better probability of achieving your goals. So how do we do it? Well, what I want to do is I want to show you a very simple download, okay? And in this download, and I've got a call here from, hold on one second. This is Christina, who I work with. Yes, Christina. Oh, volume's too low? Okay, thanks so much. Okay, I'll crank it up. Thanks so much. Bye. All right, thank you so much for the feedback, Christina. I'm going to raise the volume right now. So give me 1 second here. Christina's the best. So Christina graduated from my MBA program last year. She's the head of our alumni community. So I'm going to show you behind the scenes here. Okay. So this here is my Scarlet, okay? And I'm going to raise it up right here. Check, 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 check. Hold on a second. Check, check. Hold on a second. Test, test, test. Testing, testing. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Check, 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 check. Check, check. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. So what I'm doing, guys, teachable moment here, is I'm actually going to go and try to increase the volume here. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go here. So I'm using a product called, thanks everyone for your patience, called Wirecast. And I just upgraded. So here on the left, these are all the layers I'm using. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to boost the volume here a bunch more. So let me go to 150 here. Check, check, test. There we go. And I think that's better. 1 second. 1 second. So how's that? Is the sound quality is probably better? And let me check right now and see if people had a comment here. Okay, Christina, just write yes or no in the chat. Thank you, Christina Hong. You are the best. I appreciate it. Okay, I think that's good. All right, now give me 1 second. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and change the volume on everything. And hold on a second here while I buy time. And while I change the volume on everything, I'm going to show you a 2-minute trailer of a course. And I recorded this when I was over in the Czech Republic, and it scared the hell out of me. So this will take 2 minutes, and you'll see where I got scared. Thank you so much for staying with me. I appreciate it. I'll be right back.
When you think of accounting and finance, what comes to mind? Don't worry, this is not my course. I have something just a little more special planned for you. Do you want to learn about accounting and finance in a way that you've never been taught before? Of course you do. My visual approach will teach you everything you need to know, and it will be a lot of fun. In fact, you'll wonder why you weren't taught this way in school. Oh, and if you get a moment, please check out the student reviews to see how so many people have enjoyed the learning experience. And you know what the best part is? No experience is necessary to take this course. So if you don't know how to model and value a company, analyze a cash flow statement, or understand the difference between growth and value investing, not to worry. We will cover all of those concepts from scratch. So why should you learn accounting and finance from me? I have an MBA in finance from Columbia University. But more importantly, I have work experience in the real world, from Goldman Sachs to several hedge funds, to venture capital and consulting firms. I've raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. Now I'm passionate about sharing my knowledge and experience. My life has turned full circle, from my own education to my experience in business, to investing in and founding several companies. Instead of teaching boring finance and accounting theory, I teach based on my own real-life practical experience, and it has led me right here to you. I want you to understand how to create, analyze, and forecast an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement. I want you to thoroughly understand and enjoy finance and accounting so that you can be inspired to achieve all of your career goals. I have the tools needed to get the job done. So let's do it. I'll see you in class.
Okay, I hope that's better. Give me 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Woo! All right, well, thank you so much for that feedback. I appreciate it. How about a courtesy like, everybody? Thank you for that. Oh, it kills me. Kills me. And let me know, guys, here in the webcast, if I should go back and redo the first part. And I'll only go back and redo it after I answer all questions today. So let me move on to my second part here, and I'll start this over. I have a way that I humbly believe can boost your productivity by 100%. A simple way for you to increase everything you get done, or all the stuff you get done every single day, by 100%. That didn't come out that well, but let me explain. So do you ever notice that you have friends or colleagues that are very busy, but they're in great shape? They dress well, they look great, unlike me. They also have a great personal life, a great career, etc. It's because they're busy. And if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, which is you. And so I've noticed that most people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January. And the reason they give up on these resolutions and their goals is because they don't set a deadline date. And they also don't vocalize their goals. You got to tell your friends about it, and you got to set a deadline date. And I'm going to show you a really simple way to do this right now. So what I want you to do, please, if you want to, is I want you to download this schedule I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, so you go to harounmba.com/schedule, all lowercase. All right, so I'll go there with you. So we go to harounmba.com/schedule. I don't know why there's an H in schedule. And then you click here to download this schedule I'm going to show you right now. All right, now this schedule, it's a really, really simple way to organize your life. But this schedule here is something that I create every day, something like this. And please change the parameters here because I know we're all different. Okay, now this is in PowerPoint. It'll also open up in any other major desktop publishing or presentation software product like Keynote, Google Slides, etc. So the way it works is this. Every night before you go to bed, what I want you to do is I want you to complete this schedule. I want you to write down what you're going to be doing the next day in 1 hour or half-hour slots here. And you can change these as well if you want to, the times. I want you to schedule in time for exercise. I want you to schedule in time to go to the gym, to go to bed at the right time, to have dinner with your family or friends. Okay? So every night before you go to bed, what you do is you make this schedule. You also write other to-dos up here. Okay? And in brackets, you put deadline dates if you want to for your goals. Then, at the end of each day, what you do is this. Before you schedule tomorrow, you're going to score yourself. And this is very subjective, but I'll explain how. So, and this here are my major goals, my North Star goals. This is kind of dated. This is when before I made a crypto course a couple of years ago. But at the end of the day, what you do is you put in check marks if you did everything correctly. So for me, did I put God first? Yes or no? Then family, diet. Did I do weights? Am I less than 160 all cut? I'm currently 175 right now. Did I get enough sleep? Did I wash my face twice? Did I eat the right food? Did I get 20,000 steps in? Did I not use the internet or email too much? And did I put customers first? Okay, put check marks in. Then what you do is you also look to see if you accomplished everything here. And then you give yourself a score at the end of the day. So maybe you take off 10% for missing a meeting, and another 10% for not saying prayers, and another 10% for not going to the gym. So your score's out of 100. You put the day number and the date. Now my record is doing this 30 days in a row, and it's very subjective. My highest score is about 90%. So again, what you do is you complete this schedule every night before you go to bed, and you score yourself on that day's schedule as well. And then when you wake up in the morning, when you see your sink in your bathroom, I want you to have this schedule sitting right there for the day. And I want you to fold it up and put it in your pocket as well. I promise you this works. Many of my students have used this methodology. It works exceptionally well. In my MBA degree program, I have a higher end, a premium version that is much, much more than this. It's more interactive with drop-down boxes, etc. So again, the bottom line is, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. Okay, great. I have an important announcement. Starting later this year, I'm going to be adding technology and programming courses and content only to my MBA program, not as standalone courses. Now, back in the 1990s, I was a programmer. I was also a beta tester for Microsoft. And in the 2000s, I had a subscription to the Microsoft Developers Network. I would test all their software before it came out. On the side, it's my hobby. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be teaching programming. And I'm only going to be putting this in my MBA degree program. So I'm going to start off with teaching Visual Basic for applications. Now, the way that programming is taught is it's really, really complicated, and it's not fun. And so I've got a new way to teach you programming that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And I got a 3D printer, and these are mock-ups, they're not colored yet. I'm not really good at 3D printing, I'm trying. But for example, when you create code in Microsoft Excel, and that's where we're going to start because it's the easiest way to start with coding. When you create code in Excel, what you do is you have a sub procedure. So this is a sub. You open it up, and there are functions and variables. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a lot of props as well to teach you this stuff. For example, and I have very small hands. Awful dad humor, sorry. For example, when you code, if you want to make this eraser green, you start big, then you go to small. For example, pencil.eraser.color equals green. And let me show you how I'm going to be teaching this as well with this product that's coming out just for my MBA students. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you really quickly here the Excel dashboard, because again, I think this is the best way to learn programming. So I created this dashboard for you. There's a beginner level, an intermediate level, advanced, or all tracks. Okay, so the advanced stuff will do Visual Basic here, intermediate a little bit less so. And I've set this up so that you can track your progress. And of course, I'll teach you how I made this. And there's no code in this particular one here. And so I've got help videos, a ton of help videos. I actually have a help video set up for every single icon and every single function and all 400 plus formulas. Everything is covered. And again, this is only going to go to my MBA students. And if you bought the MBA before, you get this included. All right. And so there's just a hell of a lot of stuff here that I go through in a lot of detail. Okay, including downloads of files, etc. Tons of different really, really fun exercises as well, which I think you guys will absolutely love. And again, I add a lot of Visual Basic stuff here as well. So let me show you how coding works with Excel. And again, this is the best way to learn programming. Okay, we'll start with Excel, and then I'll teach you Python and other stuff as well. Again, I'm a nerd. I used to be a programmer for years back in the 90s, and I've been doing it in my spare time forever. All right, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to create code here, and then we're going to change the code. And the beauty of using Visual Basic for applications, which ships with all versions of Excel, the beauty of it is that it always includes developer mode. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is right here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to record a macro and we're going to change the code really quickly. And you'll have this incredible aha moment in a second. All right, record macro. And I'll call this Chris button bold. And we can set up a command key for it if we want to. I won't do that. So we're recording right now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to type here Chris, enter, and then I'm going to make it bold. Okay, good. Now we're going to stop recording, and we're going to assign a button to this code. And I'll show you the code in a second. All right, so the button will be called, I'll just use this one here. And here it is here. So let's name this button here. Okay. We'll name this button here, make Chris. I can't even spell my own name, folks. I don't know if you should take my courses. Make Chris bold. I'll get rid of the 6 at the end. There we go, good. All right, cool. So watch this. Now, when I click this button, it's going to enter in Chris and make it bold right here. See? Or actually, it didn't make it bold, but that's okay. So what we'll do now is we can actually go and change the code if we wanted to. So you click here on Visual Basic, and you can see here the code. So basically, like I was saying with the pencil before, we took active cell dot formula equals Chris, okay? And then we made bold true. So if we want, we could change this code here and do Mike, okay? And make bold false. See if this works. There we go, good. So you can play the code here, or you can go back here to Excel and actually run the code itself. So watch this. This will now say Mike. There we go, Mike, right there. Cool. So that's how we do it. And so this will be coming out later this year. Again, just to my MBA students. This is not going to be an individual course. And I hope you enjoy it. And I can't wait to start teaching you programming. Now, in my MBA degree program, I've got 5 main sections, and the 6th section I'm adding is technology. Those 5 sections are as follows. They're entrepreneurship, okay, where I teach you how to start a company. Sales, marketing, and communications, where I teach you how to network and a bunch of other stuff, use social media products as well. There's economics management and strategy, which is like working at a consulting firm like McKinsey, and I used to work at Accenture. I didn't get a job at McKinsey, I tried. There's also finance and accounting. Okay, and then there's personal growth. Okay, now the 6th one is going to be technology. Again, I'm really excited about it. It's coming out later this year exclusively to my MBA students. All right, let's move on. So I want to talk about color. And I want to talk about the science of color and how the best brands in the world use color. And this music, by the way, in the background is written by Sylvie Rakova. She's from the Czech Republic. She's in my Platinum program this year. She's great. You inspire me, Sylvie, if you're watching. Thank you. Okay. So when it comes to color, what happened was Sir Isaac Newton, after he invented gravity, what he did was he put some light through a prism, and he actually found out that light bends. Okay. And this is before he wrote his groundbreaking album, Dark Side of the Moon. And so I want to show you how this works. But let me first of all turn off green screen, and I'll show you examples of how real corporations use color. So this here is the color wheel. Okay. Now, on the color wheel, opposite colors attract. Okay, so that's all you got to remember for now. There's a couple other rules I'll teach you in a second, and I'll give you a couple of tools for it as well. All right, so for example, right here, green and red, they attract. Okay, and 7-Up, for example, that's their logo. They use green and red, okay? Over here, you've got yellow and purple, which FedEx uses sometimes. And then right here's my favorite one, and I'll show you why in a second. It's the color of the flag of Ukraine. Okay, so blue and yellow attract. So let me actually show you that, how it works with Ukraine. Okay, and God bless Ukraine as well. Okay. And I read that you don't say the Ukraine, it's just Ukraine. So the colors for Ukraine are blue and yellow, as I mentioned. And so what I'm doing right now is I've got this special offer where I'm giving away a ton of my courses, not my MBA, but a ton of my courses. And if you want, what you can do actually is you can go to my LinkedIn profile, and follow me if you want and download a bunch of courses for free. And all I ask of you, please, okay, and I'll discuss the rules of color in a second. All I ask of you, please, is that you donate to UNICEF or whatever charity you want to donate to, okay, for Ukraine. So if you click here, and then here this link, you'll be able to get my courses. Okay, now first of all, donate to UNICEF directly, not through me. And these are my courses for free, but only download them if you donate, please. Okay, it can be a tiny amount because every penny helps. And I'll be taking this down very, very soon because our server is getting hit really hard with all this stuff, but we can handle it. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to show you a tool I have for you in order to manage colors and create the best colors you want to in an Excel document, for example. So here in this technology part of the MBA program, if you go to settings, and this will be available later this year, or actually help videos, what I've done is I teach you the science of color here, okay, with color palettes, etc. So if we click here, and we go down here to color, okay, and let me just get a little bit more real estate here on my screen. There we go, and up here as well, I'll get rid of that. Good, okay, great. So these are color variants that work exceptionally well together. Okay, and these here are hex codes, and I teach you exactly how to use these hex codes in Excel and in Photoshop and with all documents you create. So you select a parent. These are variant. These are multicolor palettes here. Okay. Then I've got single color variants that work exceptionally well, and this is the one here I use for the spreadsheet most of the time, and this one here. So let's now talk about the science of color in a little bit more detail. So as I mentioned, with that color wheel clock I have here, opposites attract. Okay, so color rule number 1 is that opposite colors attract. So for example, if we look here, just at these arrows here on the white outside, we can see which colors work well together. Okay, so for example, for the Ukraine, it's something like this, yellow, if you twist it correctly, yeah. And the same thing with 7-Up. They use opposite colors like red and green. The Los Angeles Lakers, which aren't as good as my Toronto Raptors represent, but they use opposite colors as well, purple and yellow, and Visa does it as well. Now, another rule that people use, rule number 2, is colors that are side by side, okay? So look down at the bottom here at color rule number 2 and these arrows here only. And you'll see that companies like MasterCard, for example, they use colors that are side by side. BP does as well, look on the right, British Petroleum, as well as PayPal, and my logo is as well. The last color topic I want to show you quickly is something called triadic. Okay, now all I want you to do now is look in the middle here. Okay, this is color rule number 3. And colors that are in a triangle opposite each other tend to work really well. For example, Burger King has yellow, red, and blue. Okay, so if you go here, you've got yellow, red, and blue. Firefox does it as well, which is under me. And then you've got Fanta down there, which I think is owned by Coca-Cola, as well. Okay, cool. All right. And now I think what I'll do is I will go to your questions. Again, I want to thank you all sincerely from the bottom of my heart for that mistake I made at the beginning with the volume being down. For my team, John from Rochester, you're doing a great job, by the way, always. John Clee and Jean-Marco from Canada. Fast forward to the end of this video if you want to make a vlog out of the Netflix one. I'll record it again at the end of this video. Thanks, guys. And I repurpose all my content, as many of you know, into vlogs. And thanks so much for the feedback there, guys. Okay, great. All right, time for questions. Yeah. Okay. So first up, I've got here Renveer, who posted this yesterday. Might not show up to you, but I had this open yesterday. He wrote, "Hey Chris, I hope you're doing well. Likewise. People tend to change careers later in life. For example, you discovered what you love is teaching." It's true. "In the present day, I love investing. I can go 24 hours just learning about investing. I've been doing it for 4 years now. I don't want to change careers. How do I know that this is what I love?" Yeah. So the most important thing I'll say is when you're thinking about changing careers, before you think about how to change careers, I want you to ask yourself why. Why do I want to change careers? And it can't be because, the sole reason can't be because you want to make a fortune, right? If you chase money, you lose your money and your dreams. If you chase your dreams and you're willing to fail a bunch of times, something beautiful happens. Your dreams come true and the money follows accidentally. It always does. If it feels like a job, you won't excel and do really well in it. And the best example I have of this are computer programmers or developers, right? A lot of them love doing what they're doing. It's like a video game for them. I love programming as well. It's fun. And that's why great engineers are 10 times more productive than average engineers, because they love doing what they're doing. So make sure you think longer term and ask yourself this question. If I were given a month off today and I can't go to work and I can't travel and I can't go to school, what am I going to do? What am I going to be doing with my time? Whatever the answer is, and I don't care what anybody thinks, whatever the answer is, that's what you're meant to do. Okay, that's your passion, your purpose, your raison d'être. And run after that dream, and let me humbly help you if you want. In my MBA program, I teach you how to start a company and how to change careers and much, much more. So before focusing on how, focus on why. And I'll teach you a ton of networking tips as well to help take your career to the next level. Okay. All right. Next up, Hui wrote, hi, Chris. Will you have an NFT course? Yeah, it's something I'm working on adding to the MBA curriculum right now, as well as potentially a course. And so I'm partnering with Peyton Kalawahea, who graduated from my MBA program. He's a platinum member last year. He's currently in the United States Navy. He's amazing. I've interviewed him on this webcast before. What you can also do is, if you want my thoughts on when it comes to NFTs, what you can do is this. And stay with me because I got to adjust the volume again really, really quick. I click here on my Scarlet and I make this 150 boosts. Okay. So what you can do if you want, there we go, is you can go to my website, which is harounmba.com. And at the top here, I've done more than 10,000 questions I've answered. I've done thousands of hours of live calls as well. So what you can do is type up any question here, or NFT, for example. Okay. And here I explain NFTs in a lot of detail. I do a bunch of these, and this might be better actually than me making a course, but I'll find a way to make it more value added with a course in terms of how to make NFTs. Okay, so what you can do, let's talk about NFTs, is you can click here to watch this video here. And you can do this with any topic as well. And for those of you in my MBA program, if you want to know how to, I don't know, create an income statement, you type it here. These are my vlogs and income statements over the years. I'm aging, as you can tell. The older I get, the better I was. And you also, this is where it exists within the curriculum. You can click here to go directly to the curriculum for that topic. Yeah. And let me get back here on track. I'll go to bigger Chris mode again. All right. Thank you. And thanks again, Christina, for calling and giving me that feedback. You're the best. You are our fearless hero and leader. Okay. Water time. Speaking of John Klee, John, great to see you. John's been working with me for a number of years. Several years ago, I put up a thing on my website saying we're hiring. I got a ton of resumes and decided to hire John. He's great. He's from Rochester. He's a New York Yankees fan, but he should be a Blue Jays fan, right? That's okay. So John wrote, hi, Chris. How do I gain a following and more clients as a registered investment advisor? And what should the social media strategy look like? Yeah. So the first thing you want to do, because it's a regulated market, finance that is if you're going to be sending out content trying to raise money or talking about how to invest while collecting money, you want to talk to a lawyer. Go to LegalZoom.com. Talk to a lawyer. They're cheap there. Okay. And you want them to add a disclosure to all of your social media posts or to your YouTube channel or to your email. Okay, that's number one. Number two, and this will be a generic answer that will apply to everybody in this call. Whatever it is you're passionate about, you have to become a thought leader. How do you become a thought leader? You think like a thought leader, like the Rodin sculpture. I think, therefore I am. And so what you can do is you can write one article every week and put it up on LinkedIn, okay? And talk about investing, yada, yada, all this stuff. And eventually the media will come to you. I promise you. You got to have the chutzpah to stay in the game though, longer term. Like for me, for example, I feel like I'm screaming into the wind with my vlog sometimes, but I'm doing it every day forever. So what you have to do is you have to publish one article per week, okay? And after 2 years on LinkedIn, you'll have about 100 chapters. And you put those 100 chapters into a book, okay? And I've got a template for you as well. And that's how I started my career as well. Let me get rid of green screen for a second. There we go. So this is how I started my career. So I wrote one chapter every week, and I made a book out of it, which Forbes humbly wrote about and all that stuff. And by the way, you can get this book for free now. And I added an extra 100 pages to it, and 101 YouTube videos as well, and exercises. And the way to get this book for free, I'll show you now, and then I'll show you how to write a book in this format, 6 inches by 9 inches. The way to get this book for free is, and I just rewrote it, so I had a lot of fun with it. Give me 1 second here. Look at me buying time. Okay. The way to get it for free is you can go directly to, and let me make sure that the volume works. Okay, good. Yeah. You can go directly to my website. You go to harounmba.com/101. Okay. Here we go. Great. And you can, and this is what my studio looks like behind the scenes. Of course, I have a Blue Jay hat everywhere. This is what it looks like behind us. If you have questions about my setup, I'm happy to go there too if you want. Yeah. But you just complete this form here to get the book for free. Now, in terms of how to write a book and go to interviews and bring your book and get the job, and nobody does this, is you go to harounmba.com/write-book, all lowercase, okay? And then what you do is you click here to download a book template. And if you know how to use Microsoft Word in a browser, you can write a book. And so here on the first page here, you've got just the instructions of how to publish for free on Amazon Kindle, Amazon Print, and ACX, which is Audible. Okay. So all you do is you complete this document here. You write other books you published or links to your socials here, a dedication. And my dad might be watching today, so I have to read this. Dad, I love you. And Mom, the same. I love you both the same, always. To my mom and dad who gave me the faith and confidence to know in my heart that you can accomplish anything in life. And then I wrote, it's hard coming up with a better dedication than this, eh? I'm Canadian. I'd say A there. So what you do is you just fill the blanks here, and then you right click, and then you just repaginate when you download this in Microsoft Word. Okay. And if you think that's too much work, then you have to ask yourself this, and I say this with love my heart. How badly do you want that job? Or how badly do you want that customer? And the name of the game is repurposing content. Kind of like what Nintendo's been doing with their older games on newer platforms for years. You create content, you repurpose it. Like this weekly YouTube call is also a podcast. Most people don't realize that. I have a podcast. Just go to the About section of my website to access it. I also make vlogs from this, Instas, and all that other stuff. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Abby wrote a good morning. Good morning to you as well. Great to see you. All right, and then we've got Caroline, who's from France originally, but she lives now in Ontario, Canada. She's in my Silver MBA program. I see her every week at 10 a.m. And for those of you in my Silver MBA program, if you go to the first lecture, you'll see the link to the 10 a.m. call we have every single Thursday where we do Zoom. It's a 1-hour call, and I have one right after that for 2 hours with Gold and Platinum students. And Caroline started a crepe company, and she's actually in the process of trying to sell it, and I'm helping her as well. Yeah, on that weekly call. And she has 2 cats named Moo and Mimi, right? Good to see you. Okay. So Caroline wrote, my question is, what is the difference between one share and equity, or I share in equity? Yeah. Yeah. If you meant to say one, let me know. Okay. So equity means ownership. Okay. So whenever people say I'm investing in equities, equity means I own. That means I'm investing in stocks. Okay. If you say I have equity in a company, that means you have ownership of a company, whether it's private or public. Okay. So there's equity, which is stocks. Then there's fixed income, which is bonds, because you receive fixed income payments from bonds usually. Okay. Next up, Nilsa. Nilsa, how are you? Nilson actually graduated from my my Platinum MBA program last year. She's amazing. She's from beautiful Puerto Rico, and her daughter got into Columbia University. Congratulations. For undergrad, that's amazing. It's easy to get an MBA school there, but undergrad's harder to get into. Yeah, that's awesome. Very, very good. Cool to see you. And what I want to do actually is I want to show you Nilsa's profile really quickly. She, again, graduated from the Platinum Program, and she did something remarkable as well. She networked, and she got Goldman Sachs to sponsor her, and Nilsa is now part of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Scholarship Program, right? So congratulations to that. You inspire me. Her family owns a very big engineering and construction company in Puerto Rico. Great to see you, as always. Yeah. All right. Good morning to you, too. Next up, I've got a Daniel who wrote, "Good morning, Chris." Good morning, Daniel. How to get a vendor quote prior to having secured investor funds. I don't want to be premature in requesting a vendor to quote me on a project. It's hard to budget their work. Yeah, so first thing I would do is I would get multiple vendors to bid at the same time, and I would get lawyers involved, or one lawyer involved. Go to LegalZoom.com if you want to. Get a lawyer involved to draft up all the paperwork, because I've seen so many nightmare house upgrades here in California where I live, where somebody will hire a contractor. It takes them twice as long to do, and it's a gazillion dollars over budget. You want to get multiple people to bid on you at the same time so you can get the best possible deal. And what Mark Zuckerberg did actually was with Facebook, and this is the Facebook IPO prospectus. I was when I had my VC firm, I had investment in Facebook as well, along with every VC firm. But what happened was when Mark Zuckerberg wanted people to invest in his company, it was a bidding process. And he had a bunch of VC firms bid. And the one that won the B round, I think, was Excel. And there's a woman named Teresa. She's wonderful. And she teaches at Stanford. She's having her class judging business models many times. And what she did, and one of the reasons she won the bid with Facebook, was she went to that bidding meeting along with tons of other venture capitalists that were waiting outside the room to also meet with Zuck. And instead of just bringing out one contract, okay, for Zuckerberg for a certain dollar amount, it's called a term sheet, she brought 3 or 4 and kept them in her bag. And she kind of got a sense as to what other people were offering, and she pulled out the right contract to give to him based on the right pricing to be competitive with the other venture capital firms. So the bottom line there is, she over-prepared, and every battle is won before it's been fought, right? So anyway, hopefully that's interesting to you. But the bottom line is get multiple people to bid, okay? Or you speak with multiple contractors as well, and get a lawyer to write it up too, because it can be a disaster. All right, next up we have Manas from beautiful India. Manas wrote a book as well using my templates. And the name of the book here is, and I left actually in my storage room, it's called Bonds Before Business. Good to see you. So Manas wrote, "Good morning, my dear mentor, Chris, please. Hope all is well. How are you doing?" I'm always great, thank you. I hope you're doing well. You wrote, "I want to keep this week simple with just one question. When is your real estate course coming out?" Yeah, so I'm only adding it to my MBA program. There's not going to be a standalone course. And that's coming out within a year. I wanted to fly up to Canada to show you some of the buildings I bought and make it more interactive. I'm doing programming first in the MBA program, and then I'm doing real estate next in the MBA program after that. Yeah, it's coming. And again, those will not be standalone courses. They'll only be exclusive to the MBA program. Okay, and then you wrote here, Elon offered $42 billion for Twitter, but they introduced a poison pill. And then Vanguard bought some shares and became the largest shareholder. What are your thoughts on this one, please? Yeah, so usually Vanguard is an ETF company, right? They offer, exchange traded funds, basically a collection of stocks that represent an index. This is something this is not normal that they're doing this, but they obviously see value there. Now, in terms of what is a poison pill, so a poison pill basically makes it really, really hard for a person or an entity to buy your company. Okay, it basically dilutes the person trying to buy and all other shareholders as well, right? So it hurts your company, but it stops you from being acquired. And if you don't have them in place, then what happens is there are hostile acquisitions that could take place, and your company will be sold even if you don't want to sell it. And this happened back in 2003 and 2004 with a company called PeopleSoft. The ticker was PSFT. Oracle purchased PeopleSoft. There was no poison pill in place to stop the deal. It broke David Duffield's heart, who started PeopleSoft when Larry Ellison bought that company back in 0304. And since that deal, a lot of investment bankers have tried to structure IPOs in companies by putting in a big poison pill so that doesn't happen again. So, for example, David Duffield, who used to work at Oracle, he founded PeopleSoft, which got bought by Oracle. David Duffield and Anil Bhusri, and I met them both. Actually, I met Anil, not David Duffield. But when they started Workday, there was a poison pill in place so that nobody can do a hostile acquisition. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Caroline wrote, in Canada, we can buy some Amazon or other edge stock. It is cheaper than the stock itself. Can you explain the concept? Thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're discussing, but if what you mean is partial shares, you can do that on a lot of platforms like Robinhood. If you want to pay $1,000 for a share, you can buy 0.1 of a share for $100, for example. Yeah. Okay, next up, we've got Demian, who's in this year's Platinum program. He was in Silver last year. He upgraded. One of my best friends. I love you, Demian. Good to see you again. He and his wife have a wonderful daughter named Sophia, and they actually live in Barcelona. I have a lot of students in Barcelona. Great to see you. Yeah. Okay. And I enjoyed our last call too, buddy. So Demian wrote, hi, Chris. Hope you're well. Likewise. What are the factors that influence the starting price of a share of an IPO? For example, Starlink. Many thanks and big hug. Yeah, thanks. And so Starlink is owned by SpaceX, which is owned by Elon Musk. It's the company that does all those satellites all over the world to offer free internet access or discounted internet access, basically to stop propaganda from bad regimes like China. So what usually happens is, and that was a knock on communism only. Usually what happens is when the investment bankers work on an IPO, like when they worked on the Facebook IPO years ago, what they do is they price it at a 30% discount to fair value. Okay, so usually on day one, if an IPO is priced properly, it goes up 30% on average. Okay, and the reason it does is if you didn't price and offer an IPO at a discount, why would anybody buy it? Right? If it's just being issued at fair value, then there's no rush to go in there and purchase shares. So usually it's a discount of 30%. Okay. All right, next up, Mohammed wrote, how do I get a mentor from LinkedIn? Yeah. So it's something I talk about in my MBA program in a lot of detail. But the bottom line is you have to find one or two things in common with people and then talk about what you have in common. You know what we're going to do instead is I'm going to give you a book you can download. Okay. So if you go to, let's see here, go to my website, okay, just HarounMBA.com. And if you scroll down, here it is here. You can complete this form and get this book for free here. Okay, it's called Network. You can get customers, a job, or anything you want. I also just rewrote it, and there's tons of links to YouTube videos I created just for the book. It works, I promise you. And I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career, and I share a lot of my successes and many of my failures. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, Germany is facing the highest inflation since 1946. Yeah, it's disastrous. It's awful that they're dependent on Lukoil and Gazprom, meaning these big Russian energy companies. Disgusting. Yeah. I hope that war ends immediately. You wrote, Europe is drenching with inflation. Don't you think this will kill growth and the economy one more time? How will inflation change the world? Yeah. So what usually happens is when inflation is high, governments aggressively raise interest rates. And one of the problems with financial management of countries over the past couple decades is everybody is so short-term focused, government officials that is. When times are good, you have to raise interest rates a bit, right, every now and then, which is kind of what Jerome Powell is doing right now. They might raise 50 basis points very, very soon. You have to raise rates a little bit every now and then, because if you don't, you can't cut rates to jumpstart the economy. Okay, so inflation now here in the United States is 8.5%. It's the highest it's been since the Carter administration in the early 1980s. Now, in the early 1980s, the manager of the store of money in America, meaning the head of the Federal Reserve, was this man, God bless him, passed away, named Paul Volcker. And Volcker had to raise interest rates to close to 20% because inflation was disastrous then. It's not going to happen like that now. Rates are not going to be 20%. Because there's a lot of price discovery on the internet, meaning you can buy stuff for cheaper, right? So the internet is very deflationary, but rates will go up. And before Volcker raised rates under the Carter administration to 20%, he flew to Germany to meet with Helmut Kohl. And he did that because the Germans understand inflation very well, because after World War I, they printed too much Deutschmark to the extent that you had to take a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmark into the market to buy a loaf of bread. And so they aggressively raised rates. And so I think Germany is going to be aggressive as well, raising rates, more so than other countries. However, it all depends on what Putin does next, right? If this war ends quickly, God willing it does, then you'll see the price of oil come down as well. But what's terrifying is that Ukraine is the largest country in Europe. I mean, it's bigger than any country in all of Europe. And Ukraine was set up by the USSR, post the 1917 revolution, as kind of being the area that feeds the rest of Russia or the former USSR. And so the bulk of grain that countries like Egypt import comes directly from Ukraine. So it's scary. In fact, pasta prices are going up globally as well, because pasta comes from wheat, and most of the wheat in the world, or the largest exporter, I think, is Ukraine. So it's disastrous. So the price of everything is going up. The bottom line is the only answer we have to curtail inflation without raising rates materially is the driving factor would be when Putin stops this ridiculous war, which doesn't look like it's anytime soon. Yeah. Now, if you want to invest in something and protect yourself from inflation, you can look into and do your own research, please, on investing in TIPS. Now, TIPS stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. And what that means is this. It basically means very low risk U.S. debt that goes up a small percent every year, right? You make a little bit of money every year, but you also get inflation included. So if inflation is 9% and the treasuries yield 1%, then the return on that will be 10% every year. All right, and you're most welcome in us. Thank you. Yeah, and then you wrote, your voice is low. Oh, yeah, I fixed that earlier. Thank you, everyone, for all the comments there. Thanks. Okay. Next up, Ajay. And Ajay, let me know if you want me to call you Ajay or AJ. I have friends that pronounce it both ways, including Ajay Royan, who's Peter Thiel's right-hand man. I know him, and every time I go to his office, he works in VC. He gives me Tim Hortons. Good guy. He's a fellow Canadian. Okay. So Ajay wrote, I watched your recommended series Succession. Isn't it amazing? It's a great show. I love it. Best business show on television, period. You wrote, it's amazing. I learned so many things. Is this how top managements of giant corporations work in reality? And then you put LOL. Absolutely not. No, it's a play on the if everything went wrong in Rupert Murdoch's family and empire, that's what it would look like, right? So it's loosely based on him, but it's not really, because Murdoch's no idiot. He's a smart guy. Yeah. Okay, but you know what they say with family-run businesses? The first generation makes the money, the second spends it, and the third has nothing. Okay, and then Varani wrote, hi, Chris. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Next question is, what is your next recommendation for a television show to learn about business? Yeah. So I just finished watching The Dropout on Hulu. It's about Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. That's excellent. You got to check it out. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah. And if you want, you can check out a show called Super Pumped. It's a limited series, 7 episodes with Kyle Chandler, and it's about Uber. And Kyle Chandler plays Bill Gurley, who's the venture capitalist at Benchmark. He used to work in my building. I met him a couple times. Really tall guy. All right. I'm seeing all the complaints now about the volume. Thank you. And if volume is still an issue, let me know. And thanks again, Christina, for calling me. Appreciate that. Yeah. And what I'll do is at the very end of this webcast, I'll redo the introduction, the Netflix stuff I talked about. Yeah. After I answer questions. And then Abhi wrote, it's pre-recorded. It's not. No, it's not pre-recorded. Okay. I make mistakes in real time. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What we'll do is the Netflix one, that beginning part, I'll re-record it here at the end, and then I'll post it. I'll have my team post it as a vlog. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Ryan wrote, "I'm buying stocks below intrinsic value. Then I'm using MACD, MFI, Williams, R%, and SMAs for good entry points simultaneously. Writing puts below where I'm buying the stock. What are your thoughts on this strategy?" Yeah, I got you. So basically, you're using a lot of technical analysis to invest. Just be careful and understand what your maximum loss can be when you're writing puts. Okay, when you sell options to other people, meaning you write them, it's like investment bankers do when they underwrite an IPO. When you do that, you're opening yourself up for unlimited risk. Okay. Because the option clearing corporation, what they can do is they can force you to short a stock at a certain level, whatever stock it is you're looking at there. Okay, if you get what's called assigned to do so. So just be really, really careful and understand your maximum loss without using leverage. Yeah. Yeah, and in the fourth semester of my MBA program, there's an elective, a 30-hour elective called FA44. Where I teach you about shorting stocks and much more advanced risk management and much more advanced option strategies as well, based on my experience working in the industry. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Now I'm up to 8:14 now, where people are saying the volume is better, I think. Yeah. All right, next question is, what option strategies did you use when you worked at a hedge fund? Yeah, I did a lot of straddles. So what I would do sometimes, so by law, what you have to do is you have to release financial documents to the marketplace every 3 months. If you manage over $100 million, you have to release financial documents that tell the market what you own. And for certain competitive reasons, I didn't want people to know that I sold a stock. Okay, and I can talk about why if you want me to. So what I would do is I would set up a straddle. Okay, so that if the stock that I owned went up or down a lot in a short amount of time, I was protected. Yeah. All right. But the biggest mistake people do in the hedge fund industry is insider information, of course. But what they do is they hear one company's going to get acquired, and so they buy calls. And the options market is very illiquid relative to the stock market. And so what happens is whenever you buy a lot of calls, I don't care who you are, how much money you have doesn't matter, the SEC looks at it, okay, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And that's what happened actually with Activision. So the founder of Geffen Records, David Geffen, who's a wonderful humanitarian, the SEC, according to the Wall Street Journal, the SEC is investigating him and Barry Diller, the founder of Interactive Corp. They're investigating both of them because they met with Bobby Kotick a couple days before the announcement of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision in January. And then they bought tons of calls. Right, so they're being investigated right now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. So, okay, you who graduated from my program last year, she's a new mother. She and her husband actually they work at Merck, right? You're on the East Coast. Graduated from Platinum last year. You wrote, "There's no sound. You are handsome, though." Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Next up, Ryan wrote, "I'm able to write puts well below a stock's intrinsic value. Okay. However, there are companies I'm waiting to technically base out. Aside from shorting the stock, would you write upside calls in the meantime? Yeah. You have to be hedged. So if you go to the fourth semester in FA 44 in my MBA program, Finance and Accounting Semester 4, Class 4, I explain 30 different option strategies in a lot of detail and give you templates to create options from scratch. I price them for you using Black-Scholes binomial pricing theorem and Monte Carlo pricing. So you might want to check that out as well. But make sure that you're hedged, okay, on both sides of that trade. Always, always, always. Because the losses can be close to infinite when it comes to writing options. Just be careful. And for those of you that are new to options, please practice for at least 6 months first. And there's a great product you can download from a Canadian bank, TD Ameritrade, and that product is called Think or Swim. And that's how you should practice. And that's how I practice as well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Ruby. Hey, Ruby. Ruby is in my Platinum MBA program this year. Hope you're doing well. So Ruby wrote, good morning. Real estate question. Sure. If I put an offer on a house with the interest rate from last week, and interest rates drop, is it possible to have the interest rate instead? Yes. Yes. Yeah. You can also lock in a rate too for a short amount of time as you're negotiating whether or not you want to buy the house. Yeah. And then once you get your 30-year mortgage, for example, if rates decline, you can always refinance. But for the first time in many years, the 30-year now is above 5%. And I've been begging people over the past couple of years to refinance as fast as possible. Yeah. Yeah, and you can always refinance later if you want to. Yeah. Now, one thing I recommend is when you buy a house or an apartment, because the mortgage broker wants your business badly, right before you're about to sign the documents, stop and say, can you give me a line of credit? And they'll say yes. And basically a line of credit is, let's say you get a mortgage for $1 million. A line of credit is $100,000 you can tap into for emergency purposes later, right, to get that loan. Okay, so ask them for a line of credit at the last second. They'll give it to you. Yeah. And I think even after you sign the paperwork, and you're based here in California, you've got 3 days to back out, even after you sign. Talk to a lawyer first, though, please. All right. All right, and then Ruby wrote, additional real estate question. Sure. Any advice if I have a really nice house that overlooks a golf course with several big tech companies coming to the area and want to rent for corporate housing? Yeah, yeah. It all depends on the location. My grandfather, God bless him, used to say to me, well, two things. He'd say, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. And he'd also say the three most important things when you invest in real estate are location, location, location. So if more corporations are moving into the area, I would say that's fantastic for you because more corporate housing will be required. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Ryan wrote here, what's a typical day like as an analyst and or a portfolio manager? Yeah. So the best thing I recommend doing is I made a video of what it's like to work at a hedge fund. I had a lot of fun with it. All you have to do is go to my website, harounmba.com, and then just do a search of day in the life. Yeah. And this will show you a day in the life in courses as well as in videos. Click this first tab here. So a day in the life of a hedge fund analyst, right? So watch this video here, and this will tell you exactly what it's like to be an analyst. And what I do here in this video, I had a lot of fun nerding out with it. I use PowTunes, by the way, to make this. It's a free program to use. This here is this is New York City. Obviously, I worked in Walmart Plaza there at the bottom. And I give you an example of me owning Google. That's me. And then I go to the morning meeting, right? And I get off at Bowling Green subway stop. And this is the morning meeting here, okay? And I talk about how Google's beat earnings. And then I also talk about how I'm losing money on a GoPro short. And then I talk about how to pitch an idea in a morning meeting. It's actually pretty accurate. And then I go to a conference. It's basically a day in the life. all that fun stuff. Yeah, and this is me sending it back to my trader or portfolio manager to trade a stock. And at the end, in true Titanic fashion, I feel like I'm the king of the world. Yeah. But you can check that out if you want to. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, next up, Kamendra wrote, hey, Chris, I'm pursuing computer science from IIT. Oh, nice. Excellent. So IIT, for those who are not familiar, there's 5 IIT schools in India, and they're better than MIT. They're amazing, yeah. I'd never get in. So I'm pursuing comp sci at one of the IITs. I have some interest in business. Should I opt for your MBA course? If yes, how will it help me? Yeah. So yeah, I would check it out. It's basically, and we have people from Ivy League MBA graduates that are taking my program as well. We have a lot of people from top other business schools that are taking my program. They say they're learning a hell of a lot more in my program, humbly, than they did in their programs. Plus, there's a money back guarantee. So if you're curious, and I'll make this quick, I promise you. But if you're curious, what you can do is just go to my website here, okay, and then just click here on join our 4th annual MBA program, okay, and then just read through here. And there's a 100% 30-day money back guarantee. It's a great deal. It's a great deal, and you can watch all the videos here on what's included in the curriculum and testimonials and all that stuff. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Next up, I've got, and if anybody wants me to talk about Netflix right now, just let me know, and I'll do my 2 or 3 minute piece on Netflix right now, if you want, or I'll wait till the very end. But just let me know. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Next up, BMD wrote, I recently bought your Silver MBA program. Thank you. And then you wrote, if you said you're adding programming and coding to the MBA course later this year, are you going to charge me, or is this added? No. The way I work, it's a one-time payment, and you get access to all additional stuff I add forever. And so I'm creating a lot of exclusive content for the MBA program, including advanced Excel and programming as well, and real estate, and tons more topics as well. And these will not be standalone courses. Yeah, you'll get it for free. Everybody that's ever bought my MBA or will buy it, you'll get everything I add for free. And I'll send out an announcement with respect to how to access that content in the program. It'll be an elective. Yeah. And again, I'm adding a technology elective, technology electives as well. So that's the 6th component of the MBA program. All right. Next up, Cruncher8109 wrote, good morning, Chris. Good morning. Will the technology section be included in the online MBA? Absolutely. Any of my MBAs you buy, silver, gold, platinum, you will get everything I add for free forever. There's no subscription payments. We have a subscription program too, but if you bought silver, don't use my subscription, because you're going to get all that stuff for free forever. Yeah, it's a good deal. All right. Next up, Saravanan wrote, love from India. More love back at you. My favorite food on this planet is dosa. Yeah. It's the best food ever. And for people that go to Indian restaurants, like, don't get tikka masala and all that great stuff. Just get dosa. Okay. All right. So I've got a request here to talk about Netflix. So I'll do that quickly here. All right. And give me 1 second, because I'm going to show you behind the scenes how I'm going to tee this up. Okay. So I'm going to go here and change the volume level here. So give me 1 second. So here, this was the problem I had. I upgraded to the new version here of Wirecast, and I forgot to change the audio here. Yeah. That's a problem with being a beta tester and early adopter. I love all this stuff. Yeah. So give me 1 second to change the audio on these ones here. Okay, hold on. 150. I'm boosting it. Okay. And then this, and 2 more, and then we'll be done, I promise you. And you're going to love what I'm going to show you with respect to Netflix, because it's going to teach you a simple way to invest. It's going to help you big time. That was me buying time. Almost done. Okay, I'm going through all the transitions here, and I've got 2 more to do here. Volume. Okay, it's all layered just like you see in Photoshop. 150. Hold on a second. And then the last 2 more here. 1. And if you guys haven't seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan on Netflix, please turn me off and watch it. You'll cry, especially in the 7th episode when he talks about his dad. It's incredible. And the pressure he was under, too. It's unbelievable. Okay. Oh, this is important. You guys are going to love this part. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Hold on a second. All right. The absent-minded professor has updated all this stuff. Okay. And I'll get the color better in my face next time, too. All right. Cool. All right, let me first of all, before I talk about Netflix, and I'll go there quickly in a second, okay? So I sent everybody an email earlier this week, and the subject of the email is, can I please have your help? And I basically wrote, please let me know what you want me to teach you. And whatever you respond with, I'm going to be adding to the MBA program, and I also have a special surprise announcement that'll be hitting your inbox as well. Yeah, so just reply to that email if you haven't already done so. All right, let's talk about Netflix. So Netflix reported really poor earnings this week. Year-over-year subscriber growth is slightly negative. But the biggest surprise was actually guidance for the current quarter, where management is saying that the number of subscribers will decrease by a couple million year-over-year. And so what happened was, and we have to, I think the stock is oversold. And I love buying broken stocks, but not broken companies. I'll explain that in a minute. But let's take a step back and talk about what happened with Netflix. So Netflix saw this massive boost in the number of subscribers they have over the past 2 years because of COVID. Of course, everyone stays home. You know, they watch more Netflix. They took more of my courses. And by the way, I'm seeing a slowdown this year in my course sales as well. But my MBA course sales are going through the roof, which is good. Yeah. So Netflix saw a big slowdown. Okay. And what I want to do is, and let me just tee this up because I want to actually show you. And for my editors, just edit out this part here, please, until I get the this set up here. Okay, so I'm going to go here to Netflix, and I'm going to show you the charts. Okay, I'll go here to maximum here. Okay, full screen. Okay, good. Interactive chart. And I'll back it out this way so you can see on the left of me and on the right. We should be good. Okay, great. So when I used to work in the hedge fund industry at Citadel and Pequot, I worked for a man named Carson Levitt. And Carson was George Soros' right-hand man. And whenever a stock would drop a lot or go up a lot, I'd go into his office. And he would pull up the chart. And he's very unemotional about investing. He's amazing. And he would basically look at where the stock is right now, right? So for Netflix, I know he would say this if I went to his office right now. He would say, Chris, here's where Netflix is right now. It's at the same level right now as it was back in 2017. Are things better or worse for Netflix today versus back in 2017? And I would say, well, look, there's more competition from other streaming services, but I'd say it's a hell of a lot better. And it's almost like COVID never happened, right? So it's ridiculous how oversold this stock is. And I love the fact that the CEO founder is still running the company. And I never invest in companies, almost never, where the founder leaves. And I think Reed Hastings is brilliant. He's brilliant. And there are a lot of things that they can do actually to improve improve sales. So about 50% of all 200 million plus subscribers, about 50% of them, what they do is they share their streaming password with their friends, family, etc. Imagine if Reed Hastings changed that policy. And in hindsight, I'm sure he's glad he allowed people to share, because that led to a massive increase in market share for Netflix in this market they created. And Bill Gates, I remember back in the 80s and 90s, Bill Gates was furious with the amount of pirated versions of Windows in China. In the 1990s, 98% of all versions of Windows in China were pirated. And then all of a sudden he took a step back. Instead of fighting piracy, he said, this is a beautiful thing, because this is establishing us in a marketplace, and we'll get a lot of market share, and we'll charge for it later, and we'll change that piracy policy later. And that's exactly what they did. So by the same token, what Reed Hastings at Netflix can do is He's got the market share already, and he can start charging people or changing the subscription program to the extent that you cannot log in on multiple devices at the same time. He can also add advertising as well, which is what Amazon has done. I hope he doesn't do that. But since 2017, there's a lot of great new content on Netflix. Right? It's a different company now. It's a better company. Yes, there's more competition, but they have a hell of a lot more content. Great content. So here's a lot of the great shows they have right here. And I want to end this quick discussion on Netflix by talking about my favorite show, which is The Ozarks. And I want to talk particularly about Jason Bateman, who plays the role of Marty Burt. So Jason Bateman's character in the movie, or in the television show The Ozarks, he's incredibly unemotional. Unlike Ruth, who's in the middle there, who's very emotional in the show. She's a great actress as well. I just finished watching Inventing Anna, which was great. Also on Netflix. And so Jason Bateman in the show is unemotional. And I think if you want to be incredibly successful in business, you have to be unemotional, like Jason Bateman is playing Marty Burt. Because you will not overreact at the worst times. And Warren Buffett once said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. Think about how emotional people are today selling Netflix. It's ridiculous. Now, if you're unemotional in business, you'll do extraordinarily well. Case in point, a lot of billionaires at hedge funds that I worked for, they're very unemotional. They don't get too happy when things go well and vice versa. And they don't freak out when stocks are falling because things are never as bad as you think they are. And so Elon Musk, for example, is very unemotional. Case in point, March of 2020, when the market was at a bottom, he bought a ton of Tesla stock. It's publicly disclosed. You can look it up. Then he sold a ton of Tesla stock last fall when the market peaked. You have to be very unemotional in business in order to do incredibly well. You have to be a contrarian, and as Warren Buffett said, you have to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy, and be unemotional, just like Marty Burt. Yeah. Now, quick little side note about Jason Bateman. This is really inspirational. So he was in a lot of TV shows back in the 80s when I was a kid, and he was in a lot of movies as well, like Teen Wolf Part 2. I remember that. And then in the 1990s, he wasn't in anything. And the reason is, and this is publicly disclosed, he talks about it, he's open about it. The reason is he was so burned out and he was in drug and alcohol rehab in the 1990s. And the beautiful thing about him is he turned his life around. You always get a second chance. And he went to rehab in the 90s, and eventually in the 2000s, he reinvented himself like nobody has done. He did Arrested Development, The Ozarks, and tons of great movies like Game Night, for example, which is a funny movie you got to watch. Okay. All right, let me go back here. And if anybody has questions about Netflix or any of that stuff, let me know. And John Cleese, who works with me, just make sure you fast forward to make the vlog about Netflix from the second time I did when the volume works. Thanks. Okay. And give me 1 second here, guys. All right. Okay. Next up, Christina wrote. Christina heads up the Haroun Education Ventures Alumni Network. She's doing a great job. She lives with Christian. They both graduated from my MBA program last year. So she and Christian live here in San Francisco as well. She's great. She also went to Columbia like me. Okay. So Christina wrote, good morning, Chris, and our amazing global MBA family and webcast family. Good morning to you too. Hope you're having an outstanding week so far. Cheers, Chris. I'm at 10 a.m. water and only 400 steps. How about you? Yeah. And we compete as well. All of us in my MBA program in a good way. Yeah. I'm drinking invisible water. So currently, and let me turn off this. Oh my God, it's so annoying the green screen. Currently, I'm at 9 a.m. So I got a lot of work to do to catch up. In terms of steps, I think I'm only at about 500 so far, but I do get my 20,000 steps in now. Yeah. Almost every day. I stopped for a while to put on a little bit more muscle mass because I lost some last year because I've got a shoulder injury. All right. And the Audible book I'm listening to right now is by Matthew McConaughey. It's called Green Light. And don't read his book. Listen to his Audible book because his delivery is incredible. He speaks in rhymes sometimes, and he's very poetic. He's a brilliant man. Okay. All right, next up, I've got Dion. How are you? Dion wrote, it's Dr. Dion. Good to see you. Being at the top of your game. It is great to see you. And thank you for that email. I have to respond soon. So Dion graduated last year from my platinum program. She's awesome. She's family. And also, she's got the best LinkedIn profile. And let me show you Dion's LinkedIn profile, because this is a model profile that everybody needs to use. Okay, so let's go here to LinkedIn. And then I'll go here to Dion. Okay. And what makes her program great? And in my platinum program, I make your LinkedIn profile with you. So she's got up here, the important thing is right here, she's got something very inspirational, picture at the top. And this works on mobile too. 3 layers, always. Okay. Her picture is great. Here she has a number of different titles. And this is important because this is the most searched field in all of LinkedIn by recruiters. Okay, you can put that vertical line there as well. Her about section is great. And when you make the about section in your LinkedIn profile, and again, in the Platinum program, I do it with my students live. I create theirs for them. When you do these things, the way to think about it is, if somebody was going to announce you as a keynote speaker and they had to read a bio, they read the summary section here. And you should never have more than 3 sentences in any paragraph ever, okay? It's just easier to read this way. Yeah. And so check this out. And I'll read this quickly, just the first paragraph. Dr. Dion Vernon's career in education has always been at the intersection of the liberal arts and sciences. In addition to working for the Olympic Committee globally, she also has extensive experience on Broadway with more than 10 productions, including The Lion King, Hamilton, Cats, and Chicago. And I asked Dion as well, I said, did you work on Les Miserables? And she said no. And at the end, here's a quote from her, which I actually showed at our graduation here in the Bay Area last year. This is from Dion. Something really amazing happens when we stop, confront, and own our pain and ourselves. We start to harness an incredible power called resilience. I love that. You inspire me big time. Yeah. Yeah, amazing. And congratulations on your team winning the gold medal, too, last year. The only thing I have to say is this. You need to have more recommendations. I want you to have at least 10 of them. And for people in my platinum program, I write one for you if you want as well. Yeah. But Dion, it's great to see you. And Dion, thank you so much for going to that restaurant, which I think you mentioned quickly in that email you sent me. It's the best restaurant on the planet. It's called the Greek Isles. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's amazing. Yeah. You always put a smile on my face. Okay, next up I got Benjamin, who wrote, hey Chris, if I accomplish your courses on your webpage, will I be able to add them to my LinkedIn profile? Yeah, a lot of people do it as certificates of completion, etc. I think Dion had one there for a LinkedIn one. Let me see here. Let me see. Yeah, a lot of people do it with, where is it here? Yeah. Yeah, so she took an Excel course. She put it here. You can do that. Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why not. A lot of people do it. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. I'm so glad I didn't stream on LinkedIn. I was going to do LinkedIn today as well for the first time. But the volume wouldn't have worked, so thank God. Yeah. All right, next up, Christina wrote, congratulations on your weekly office hours webcast 180. Isn't it crazy? I'm in like my 5th year of doing this now. It's unbelievable. I'm never going to stop, ever. Yeah. You wrote, thank you for all that you do and your commitment to all your webcast family and MBA students. You make a difference every day. Thank you. I needed to hear that, especially today when I really messed up the audio early on. Yeah, thank you. God bless you. Marin, how are you? So Marin graduated from my platinum program last year. She's from Kenya. She lives in the United Kingdom now. And I'm actually going to be flying, and I got to respond to your email too, Marin, sorry. But I'm flying to next June of next year to Kenya, and we're going to build a school there in honor of her mother, Leah, who's watching and is so proud of you. Yeah. And I'll meet your father as well, whose name is Samsung, right? I always remember it because it's biblical. Yeah. So Marin wrote, at Chris and everyone, how are you and yours doing? Hope you're all well and that you had an amazing Easter. God bless you. And then you wrote, what level of water and steps are you on today? And Christina just asked a second ago too. So I got to catch up. I'm only at like 9 a.m. water. Yeah, a lot more to do. But it is wonderful to see you. And a couple years ago, I did this weekly webcast. I think it was like maybe 2 years ago or something. And I saw my mom's name. And my mom had typed a comment. And it was definitely, like, it was for sure. I thought it was my mom. And then what happened was Marin typed her first comment ever here. She wrote, "It's so nice to see your mom type. My mom recently passed away, and it's a beautiful thing. Your mom is here." Yeah. And then I checked with my mom. I was like, "Mom, thanks for asking a question on my webcast today." And she's like, "Honey, I don't know what you're talking about." And she's really with it. She's sharper than I'll ever be. And my dad, if you're watching too, I love you both the same. Okay, good. And it actually wasn't my mom. It was somebody pretending to be my mom. And at first I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," but I'm glad it happened, because otherwise I wouldn't have met you, and I wouldn't be building this school with you in honor of your mother. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Craig wrote, "Will you be adding decentralized finance to your Frodo courses, such as tokens, staking, lending markets, liquidity pools, etc.?" All that stuff I will be adding. Anything that's forward thinking and technical, and finance 2.0, I'll be adding to my MBA program only. Yeah. So everything will be included in my MBA program. Yeah. All right. And then Marin wrote, "Chris, in the MBA, you shared a framework which we can use when we have a person we've asked to do some work with and would like to follow up on the next one-on-one meeting. How can I get it?" Yeah. Let me think about that. Remind me, please, what you mean by that. Probably the most encompassing framework I have, and I'll show you how to download it in the MBA program, is right here. So let's go there together. So if you go to just my website /EMS4-2, all lowercase, that's Economics Management Strategy, Semester 4, class number 2, and you hit enter, you can download this investment research dashboard. It's one of many frameworks I have in the program. I give all my students all the arrows in your quiver that you need. You click here. Don't open it in the browser, but download it. Okay. And in this document here, what you can do is there's 100 steps to analyze a company, and out of that comes a one-page write-up and a 150-page write-up and a dashboard as well. Okay, so here, these here are the qualitative research steps. Okay, these are the quantitative ones here, and these are the financial ones, right? And then there's also a dashboard that gets created based on everything you enter in. This is just dummy data here, and then an executive summary right here, and then this is all tied to real data here. And you hit print, and it prints that one pager there. Or what you can do is you can actually export just a detailed report as well. And if you're referring to a different template, please let me know it. And thank you as always. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see here. All right, next up, Peyton, how are you? Peyton Kalahea wrote legend, referring to himself, not me, please. Peyton, it's great to see you. I miss you. And thank you for agreeing to be on this call here that's coming up on the 29th of April here. Yeah, thank you. And Peyton, by the way, so he started a YouTube channel, and I think you've got close to 10,000 viewers in like no time. And he also started a great company on the side. He's in the United States Navy, but he finds time. He's good at budgeting his time using this schedule. He actually created this great company called Game Report. Okay, and so GameReport.io is Peyton Kalahea's company, and basically it's the go-to source for everything NFT gaming. Everything. It's unbelievable. It's great. And he's got his own YouTube channel as well that I want you guys to follow if you want to learn about NFTs and all that stuff. So here's Peyton right here. He showed up. He just dropped this one here, right? Look at that setup he's got there. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. From nothing, dude. You had like 1 subscriber. Now you're like 7,000. And I promise you within a year, you're going to pass 100,000 at that trajectory. Yeah. So everybody check it out. Follow the Game Report by Peyton Kalahea. And Peyton, it's always great to see you, brother. Yeah. And I'm so sorry about when I teased you about being in the Marines, because I know you proudly serve in the United States Navy. Thank you. Okay. Okay, next up we have Mina, who graduated 2 years ago from the MBA program, the Platinum program. How are you? Mina is from Greece. She worked at Ryanair, a great discount carrier, and she also is a video game programmer on the side. She's awesome. She's awesome. Good to see you. Okay, and then Peyton wrote, what are your thoughts on Netflix losing 1 million subs and Tesla's earnings? Yeah, and I just did the Netflix thing just now. If you have additional questions based on what I said, please let me know. But also, and I think it's more of a broken stock than a broken company. But do your research first, please. In terms of Tesla's earnings, they were great. They were great. There are still material inventory issues they have, though. So, for example, we ordered a Tesla, not the expensive one. My son wanted to get the Plaid. I'm like, we're not doing that. Forget that, man. I don't like the steering wheel in that one. But we ordered a Tesla. It was supposed to come last December. Then they said April. We're now in April. Maybe it's May. It's unbelievable. Yeah, there's they have a lot of pricing power, just given the fact that inventories are low. Okay, next up, Kumar wrote, hey, Chris, what do you think will happen to Tesla if a better competitor comes to the market in the next 5 years with a lower cost and lower maintenance? Will Tesla survive? Yeah, without a doubt, Tesla will survive. Without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking 5 years, that's a nanosecond. Yeah. Anything can happen longer term. But I don't think that Tesla will ever go out of business unless there's some crazy lawsuit that takes them down. Yeah. I think Elon Musk is too smart to ever have it go out of business. Yeah. When he resigns one day, whoever the next CEO is, maybe. But right now, no way. No way. They're killing it. Okay. And I haven't seen any great competitors out there with a premium price brand. And the brilliance of Elon Musk, though, is not the fact that that Tesla is so successful. It's that Tesla doesn't advertise. I've never seen a Tesla commercial. Never. And so, and let me see if I can just get rid of that thing at the bottom there, guys. Give me 1 second. So sorry. 1 second. I've never seen a Tesla commercial. I don't know if you have. I've never seen one. All right, hold on a second, guys. I got to get rid of that stupid thing at the bottom. It's bothering me now. Here it is. Okay, bottom, gone. Great. Okay, good. Okay, and I'm also going to turn off a green screen as well. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, and this is where people leave. I know. Sorry. There we go. Great. Okay, cool. No green screen. So Tesla doesn't advertise. Now, most major corporations like Coca-Cola, 10% of their revenue is spent on advertising. So Coca-Cola's revenues are $40 billion, and they spend $4 billion a year advertising. Tesla doesn't really advertise. And the way that Elon Musk gets free PR is being controversial. And just that little stake he's taken, little for him, in Twitter, the small amount of money he paid to maybe own part of Twitter is nothing compared to how much money he's saving by not advertising. I don't think there's any other CEO on the planet that is more confrontational in a classy way, that leverages social media like Elon does. There's only one Elon. Okay. All right. Okay. And then there's a comment that the maintenance costs are way too high on Tesla. They are, but people get a lot of tax breaks, right? So when you buy a Tesla, you get a big write-off, yeah, in most places, yeah. Because of solar, yeah. Next up, hey, Steve, how are you? Steve wrote, hi, Chris, thank you for the amazing job. You're most welcome. Thank you for being here, please. I would not have this call without my amazing students. And then you wrote, thank you for your email yesterday and your reply. Thank you. And then you wrote, what discipline should I pursue to establish a fintech and investment company? I still want to do my CFA. Yeah. Oof. And a CFA is more respected than an MBA when it comes to finance. That's for sure. Yeah. So if you want to start a fintech and an investment company, you've got to have experience at a big investment firm. And you have to have a portable track record as well. And in order to get that gig at a great firm, you got to network like crazy. And I promise you, if you set up enough informational meetings using the stuff I talk about in my MBA program, you will be able to change careers. Yeah. But I don't want you to start a company, or anybody to start a company, without writing a business plan first, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And in the third semester in my MBA degree program, in E31, I've got the venture capital boot camp. And so in the venture capital boot camp, I teach you how to write a business plan, how to raise money, how to present to investors, and much, much more. Yeah. And the way you know you have a great business model is if you finish the business plan. And if I convince you not to start a company, then I've done my job as well. Now, I'm an optimist, as you know. But if you start a company without doing thorough research, especially the financial model, which I teach you, if you start a company without creating a financial model and doing thorough research, it'll take years off your life, and in fact, your social life, etc. Yeah, you won't be happy. So I want to humbly help you as much as I can. And we have such an incredible network of current students and alumni in the MBA program that do Zoom calls with each other. And you got to practice a lot. In the program, I'll teach you everything you need to know about starting a company, but I can take you to the water, but I can't force you to drink. And I say it with love in my heart to everybody, myself included. You got to practice, because as Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of all skill. Okay. And then Mina from Greece wrote, my wife is half Greek, and my yaya, which is Christine's mom, it makes the best tzatziki. I love it. So Mina wrote, hey Chris, I followed your advice from Monday, and apparently the least likely contenders were the best offers in the end. Oh, cool, for the job, yeah. I'm still going to go through with the interviews, though. Awesome. And then he wrote, so thank you. Shocking how I got contacted by 2 national carriers to go back to aviation, but I will join another airline. Awesome. Excellent. And you're incredibly well spoken, and you're personable as well. And last year, I want to thank you, read between the lines, for reaching out to that one student that needed a lot of help, and you were amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah, you're very selfless. Yeah, thank you. And congrats on the new gig. Okay. Next up, Rajesh wrote, it's really a long time, like months, I've been on this live call. It's great to have you back. You wrote, I'm busy with a job search. I got my favorite job following your advice. Awesome. On how to get one and network, which you gave me live. Thanks from my heart, sir. Yeah, Chris, please, my pleasure. And I'm happy for you. And stories like that inspire me so much. Okay, next up we have Shiva, who's joining my MBA program from Toronto. And you sent me a LinkedIn message I still have to get back to. And for people that send me messages, if I miss them, please don't be upset. Just ask me during class always, or during the webcast. Shiva, yeah. And Shiva, I remember that video you responded to a while back on LinkedIn. Thank you for that. And we are the same. Yeah. So Shiva wrote, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. You mentioned you will come to Canada next year. Would you be able to arrange a meet and greet for your students, please? I'd love to meet you in person if possible. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah. Now, there's a small chance I might be there this June. If so, what I'll do is I'll set up a meetup at Tim Hortons or something. Okay. Or maybe we'll all go out to lunch. But if we do that, when the bill comes, I'll do this. I have alligator hands. I can't find my wallet. T-Rex can't do push-ups either. Yeah. No, of course, the coffee's on me. Yeah. But we have to go to Tim Hortons. It's the best coffee in the world, which has 70% market share in Canada versus Starbucks only has 40% share in America. This is a rite of passage in Canada. It's something we're very proud about. It has the same colors as the Canadian flag as well. Yeah. And I used that joke once, the alligator thing, my awful dad humor. I used it once a while back in a course, and I people responded with crazy messages like, "I don't understand. Why would you kill an alligator just for a wallet? That's not right." Yeah, so I'll never get sponsored by PETA, but yeah. Okay, great to see you, Shiva, and I'm looking forward to meeting as well. Yeah. Okay. And Shiva, join my platinum this time if you want to start right now. I think you mentioned you already joined, but do this one because I haven't seen you in any one-on-one meetings and I want to humbly help. Yeah. Okay. No charge, of course. All right, next up, Anand wrote, "Hi, Chris. I work in IT support as an analyst, and I want to enroll the MBA program, but the course is priced too high for me. In India, $1,000 is too costly. Please offer us a good discount for enrolling in the program." Okay, I will. Send an email today, Anand, to support@harounventures.com. All right. Next up, Caroline wrote, "Is there an IPO for Starlink?" I haven't seen the news, but I do know that eventually Elon Musk wants to spin off Starlink from SpaceX into a separate publicly traded company. And the use of proceeds, of course, because it's very CapEx intensive, will be to build a couple thousand more satellites, low orbiting satellites, all over the world. Yeah. And eventually I want to get Starlink to power or to provide internet access for free to the schools I'm building in Africa. And if you want to know my thesis on the future of education and Elon Musk, just watch my TEDx talk that I gave back in 2016. Yeah. Okay. And then Caroline wrote, "Do you think we have all the ingredients for a recession in the current world state?" I do. And I think what's going to push us over the edge is inflation. Yeah. Now, if Putin had not invaded Ukraine, my thoughts might be a little bit different. But inflation was a problem before the awful invasion, and now it's getting much, much worse, to the extent that one of my students here wrote earlier today that inflation is the highest it's been in Germany since World War II. Yeah. All right. Okay, next up, Solomon wrote, "Hey, Chris, can you make a new course about project management?" Yeah. I've done a lot of project management stuff in the past with Microsoft Project and Data myself. No one really uses that anymore. And a product called Project Workbench, an old client server software product back in the 1990s. What I am going to do is I'm going to teach you about project management using Excel and coding in Excel. So I won't create a course in that. It'll be exclusive to my MBA program. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Craig. Hey, Craig. Craig wrote, "It's been a while since I've caught you live. I hope all is well with everyone." Great to see you, Craig. Yeah. Okay, Peter, how are you? Peter is from Romania. He's 19 years old. He's a big fan of football. Not this football, the real one, where you kick it. Yeah. Good to see you. So Peter wrote, "What do you think about Formula One? I never asked you about what sports you like." Yeah, so I'm a fan of Formula One. I don't know too much about it, but I do know the quote, "Shake and bake." What movie is that from? It has to do with cars. I'm a massive, I don't know why I smell baseballs. They smell so good, but I'm a massive baseball fan. I love baseball. It's definitely my favorite sport. Yeah, and I love my Toronto Blue Jays. And I remember back in 1992, in 1993, when my Toronto Blue Jays won the World Series. And I have a lot of American friends, and they tease me for being Canadian. So I teased them big time. In 92 and 93, I would say, "Hey, you see the America's pastime? You know, Canada, we won the World Series." And my American friends said to me, "Yeah, so what, Haroun? Your Americans beat our Americans." Yeah. But I'm a Blue Jays fan, yeah. And you cannot sign up for my MBA program if you're a New York Yankees fan. I'm sorry. I should add that to the FAQs. All right. The Jays are tied with the Yankees in first now, yeah. All right. And give me 1 second to get all caught up here. All right, give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. Great. All right. Nobody's answered the question yet. It was Talladega Nights. Yeah. Sasha Cohen was in that one, too. A lot of people forget that. Yeah. All right. Funny movie. Okay, next up, Steve wrote, "What are your thoughts on this? a mortgage of 30 years, fixed rate of 2.375. That's a great, you locked in well at that. You obviously did that a couple of years ago. Yeah. And then you wrote, since 2020, with equity of $80,000, with interest of over 5% now, is it advisable to refinance? Yeah. No, God, no. So if I'm reading this correctly, you have a mortgage that you got in 2020. That's 30 years fixed, meaning it won't float. The payments will stay constant. 30 years fixed at a rate of 2.375, right? And then you wrote interest is over 5%. Should you refinance now? No, God, no, because your mortgage payments will be materially higher. Yeah. Okay. All right, Maria, how are you? Good to see you. All right, and then Christina wrote, Professor Chris, what are your thoughts on Disney losing their special service district tax exemption in Florida? Disney stock fell 5.6% on Wednesday and dropped nearly 15% so far in 2022. Yeah, so Disney stock is pulling back, I think, more so because of the anemic growth of streaming services. Netflix is the worst performing company in the S&P 500 this year. Yeah. Disney has a bunch of other issues going on that is causing them to butt heads with the governor in California as well. Yeah. Yeah, and Disney has a lot of clout, power in Florida as well. I mean, tourism is the biggest industry in Florida, and Disney is the biggest player there. So I'm sure they'll find a way to resolve this issue with taxes. Yeah. There's too much at stake for the state of Florida. Yeah. And I've thought about moving to Florida because of taxes. There's no state income tax. Yeah, I've thought about it. Now, Tony Robbins did. He was in California forever, in San Diego, and then he moved to Florida. I've thought about it, but I think the summers might be kind of tough for me there. I'm not sure yet, but I have thought about it. Yeah. And if I do, Dr. Dion, if you're still on the call, who's based in Fort Lauderdale, we will definitely have lunch together at the Greek Isles. Yeah, best restaurant on the planet there. Your treat. All right, next up, Babuti wrote, "Hi Chris, I completed your MBA course on Udemy. Keep guiding. Thank you." And that was my 7.5 hour course. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And if anybody wants to get that course for free, you can get it for free today. Just go to my LinkedIn profile and see one of my featured posts on that. Oh my God, I can't even talk today. Yeah, see my featured post. It looks like this here. Okay, and look how beautiful Ukraine is. You see that? Stunning. Yeah. Okay, let me get rid of that background thing there. Hold on a second. All right, here we go. And I'm going to change the background here. Give me a second here. Let's go back to that. And the reason I had it blue was for the green screen. That's kind of nice, huh? All right. Okay. Next up, BMD wrote, on pirated Windows use in China. On what you just said, it reminds me of a video Eminem put out where he said something like, "Do anything you can to support my album, including illegally downloading it." Yeah. And I used to be an Eminem fan. I find his stuff gets me stressed out. But I do love his song called Lose It. Yeah. All right. There are tons more questions here, guys. I won't be able to get to them all. So if you're in my Silver MBA program, we're going to start our weekly Zoom call. It lasts an hour. If you sign up for Silver, you get 1 hour every week forever of Zoom time with me, group Zoom settings. Just go to the first lecture in the Silver MBA to find it. Yeah, and for those of you that have additional questions, ask me during the Silver office hours or the Gold and Platinum office hours. We have a 2-hour call later today, or during one-on-ones with my Platinum students later today. So again, I'd love to have you all join me on my call, my annual MBA open house, which is going to be, let me see if I've got it at the bottom of the screen here. Yeah. Which is going to be on April the 29th. That's Friday, April 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll be giving away one scholarship for Platinum to one of the many people on the call, as well as other freebies. So again, put it in your calendar. Join me Friday, April 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. It'll be on my YouTube channel for my annual MBA open house event. And this is our 4th one-year program we're launching for the MBA program. So the next MBA program starts on June the 1st. Okay, it's going to be every Wednesday from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Pacific time. And if you want to learn more about it, and there are limited spots, I'm going to make this a smaller class as well, so I'll be able to dedicate more time to my students. But if you want to learn more about this, let me see if I can go and find it here. Just go directly to up here. Hey, Peyton. My website, harounmba.com. And then when you're here, just click here, join our 4th annual MBA program. You know, positions are limited. You can read all the stuff here about the program, as well as videos of what's in the program, FAQs, testimonials, and all that great stuff. Okay. So please click like and subscribe. My marketing team always asks me to say that. If you got value out of this call, and I'll see you next week and every week at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday. Again, if you're in my Silver MBA program, I'll see you in a couple minutes. If you have more questions I didn't answer, please ask me next week or during class. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Have a great weekend. This is a fun call. And thanks for the feedback. And I'm sorry about the audio issues. It won't happen again. Thank you.